English. All right. Good morning to all of you. Good morning, Devi, Vivek, Manju, Akash. Good morning, everybody. I hope my voice is clear to all of you. You can see the slides clearly. Let us begin the session. In this particular session, we are going to study health and nutrition. All right. So you can say a simple basic topic, but there are questions asked from this topic. So that is why we are going to consider this. So let us begin with what is nutrition, what are the different modes of nutrition. Then we will come to the different types of nutrition, how it affects our health. Okay. And then finally, there is a part of community nutrition as well, or you can say the part where we will see how as a whole, as a society, as a community, we are affected by if there is lack of any nutrients, if there is lack of any minerals, how that affects us. All right. So let us begin with the first one, that is, see, if anything that is living, if anything that has life in it, that means it will require the basic, you can say in very common layman language, as food. Just a second. You can say in very common layman language as food, but adding something more to that, just like a computer recognize 0 and 1, right? So you can say that the human body can recognize what, roti, rice, like that, or in the form of say carbohydrates, fats, amino acids, in that form. So when we will do the conversion to the form, the way the body will be able to recognize, in that form we want to take it to the details. Okay. So the maintenance of life requires processes like nutrition, and this nutrition will further say the digestive system will further break down whatever we eat into the different nutrients, and then we are able to say the blood is able to absorb them. So you can take this nutrition up to the digestive system. Then respiration, from simple breathing in to breathing out to the exchange of gases in the lungs, and all of these you can imagine in the respiration, in the respiratory system. Then the transport of the minerals within the body, throughout the body, and then excretion of the waste products out of the body. Okay, so all these things are involved in the basic life process. Now coming to the modes, that is your autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. This is very simple. You must be learning this from your childhood days. Autotrophic, auto means something which is, say for example, automatic. So it happens on its own. So autotrophic means these are those, say, living beings who are able to arrange their food by themselves automatically. Okay. So simply what does it mean? Who can arrange for their own foods? Autotrophic nutrition involves the intake of simple inorganic materials from the environment. Say for example, they are using the water from the environment, there is carbon dioxide in the environment, sunlight in the environment, all of these are, say, they are using an external energy source like the sun to synthesize complex high energy organic material. For example, the process of photosynthesis, when there is CO2, when there is H2O, that is your carbon dioxide and water, in the presence of sunlight, they're able to make the C6H12O6 glucose. So this is how what happens is there is, say, energy is being produced, high energy organic material which is good for the plants. So this process of photosynthesis will come under autotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, no problem till here. We can proceed to the next one, heterotrophic. All right, please let me know once. No problem till here. Let me check once. All good. Okay, so let us proceed to the next one, that is the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, the heterotrophic nutrition. Clear. Okay. Praveen Naga, thank you for confirming. So, see, if anything is there, I'll keep on coming to this chat box. Let me know. Okay. So, after every, say, 5 minutes or so, or even if my attention will go here, I will keep on coming. Okay. Coming to the next one, that is heterotrophic nutrition. As the name itself indicates, this is heterotrophic. That means they will do the intake of the complex materials prepared by other organisms. You take the example of food pyramid. Only these base layers, this first tier ones, this base tiers, only they are the producers. They are the producers. They are the automatic nutrition, or those who are making their food, doing the energy requirement completion by this autotrophic nutrition. Others are dependent on them. They are heterotrophic. They take the, what is their mode of nutrition? Heterotrophic nutrition. What about human beings? Human beings, the food eaten is broken down into various steps, and this detailing we study in the digestive system. When we will study human physiology in the digestive system, we will study the details of how this breaking down of the food happens. During the process of respiration, this complex organic compounds such as the glucose, these are broken down into the ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. This will happen in case of digestion in the human physiology. Okay. Now, there can be different modes of respiration as well, like the aerobic and anaerobic respiration, those who will use up the oxygen and those who will not use up the oxygen. Human beings, we require oxygen for everything, all the human functions. Okay. So the rest of the detailings which is about the human body, that will be covered in the digestive system and human physiology. Coming back to nutrients. Okay. What are the nutrients? By now we have realized the very basics. So we can say that nutrients are the chemical constituents present in our food that is required for the, say, survival, for the nourishment of the body. And these are nothing but the chemical constituents. They can be broken down into 6 different types. You can classify them. For example, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Let us have a look at them one by one. Coming to the first one, that is carbohydrates. Very simple. Carbohydrates are compounds made up of 3 elements. There has to be carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So 3 elements will make up the carbohydrates: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. 1 gram of carbohydrates. This is a repeated previous year question. Please note everyone, this is repeated previous year question. 1 gram of carbohydrates on complete oxidation will yield 17 kilojoule, that is 4 kilocalories of energy. So 1 gram of carbohydrates will give how much? Remember this figure in terms of kilocalories they will ask. So it is 4 kilocalories. Okay, maximum time. So like till now when they have asked in terms of kilocalories only. Okay, so 1 gram of carbohydrates will give 4 kilocalories of energy, and it will, for fat also it will come after some time. For fat you will have to remember 9, and for carbs you have to remember 4. These two figures are very important. Carbohydrates may be in the form of, say, sugar, starch, and cellulose. Further, carbohydrates can also be in the form of sugar, starch, and cellulose. Okay, it is very simple. We will have a look one by one. Sugars are available in the different forms further. So this sugar can be the glucose sugar, the glucose one, which instant energy it will provide in running. You are feeling tired, take glucose, instant energy. It can be in the form of fructose. Fructose is nothing but fruit sugar. Okay. Say if somebody is taking say a sweet fruit on a daily basis, apple juice on a daily basis, beet juice on a daily basis, then it is okay, no problem. But if the person is diabetic, you will see that only if without the fiber, if somebody is consuming fruit juice, then also the diabetic range can increase. The reason being that also has the fructose sugar. Then there is your lactose sugar, which is there in natural sweetness in milk. Do not add any kind of sugar, and try that original sweetness, which is present in milk. And after that, you will not like to add sugar to your tea. You will like the tea or coffee without sugar. Coffee, okay, little bit sugar is fine, but milk tea, sugar destroys the taste if you realize how to consume it without sugar. Anyways, then there is sucrose, which is as for sucrose, as for sugar cane juice, it is found. Then glucose provides almost instant energy. So what are the energy sources? In terms of carbohydrates, if you are consuming, you can divide it into sugar, starch, and cellulose. Sugar can be in the form of glucose, fructose, lactose, sucrose. Lactose you know already, it is milk sugar. Fructose you know already, it is fruit sugar. Glucose, it is the instant source of energy, like glucon D for example. And then there is your sucrose. Sucrose is S for sucrose, S for sugarcane. So I hope all of this in terms of sugar is clear, and we can come to the next one, that is starch. Any problem till here? Should I go to starch? Fluorescence, thank you for confirming, no problem. So we can come to starch, right? Okay. So what are this starch? First, you observe whenever you are cooking rice, boiling rice, and then you are pouring the rice water, okay, you will see there is a type of stickiness in that rice. Okay, this stickiness that you feel, okay, or if you are cutting the potato slices in water and then you have dipped it in water for some time, you will see there is a complete white layer like on the bottom of the surface or on the bottom of the vessel. All these are nothing but examples of starch which you clearly see. So starch can be easily digested in our body. Now, in case of say Northeast India, in many households, early morning for when the child and the kids they go to the school, they make just the simple rice with little bit more water so that it remains like a sticky kind of a texture is there, soft it will become. And then a potato is added because that one is also starch and easily digested in our body. Okay, so that potato is further broken down, some butter, ghee, mustard oil, salt will be added, and simply like that also it is edible, and it tastes good if you are accustomed to that taste. It forms the bulk of our diet, like potato, wheat, rice, sweet potato, banana. All these are good sources of starch, and you will note that all of this has a sense of stickiness, so that you can relate to starch. Coming to the next one, that is cellulose. So we had seen sugar, starch, cellulose in carbs, out of which we have studied which one? Sugars, right? Then starch, and now cellulose. Cellulose cannot be digested in our body yet. It is not digestible. So what is the importance? Why do you need cellulose? It is to form the roughage in the diet. And this roughage will help the movement of the food easily from the mouth through the esophagus to the stomach. This smooth movement of the food will happen, and finally excretion will also be possible easily. It will prevent from the constipation and it will help in the digestion. That is why whole grains needs to be consumed. For example, you have the options of consuming either a rolled oats or say the oats, normal oats, which is say broken down into pieces. So always choose the rolled oats over the normal one. So that is how you choose for whole grains. Then for peels of most fruits and vegetables which are edible, so they are also containing the say roughage. Okay, so cellulose is not digested, it forms the part of the roughage in our diet. So is it clear till here? Then we can come to this list from which many times the previous year questions have been asked. All clear? No problem till here? Rohit, Soren, yes, Akash, yes. Okay. So now let us come to this list. Thank you for confirming. Now let us come to this list. Now, if you will note the mock test and in the previous year questions also, many times they are asking that in grapes, which one you will find. Now, you will think that grapes is a fruit, so probably there will be fructose, but it is not like that. For grapes, there is the instant source of energy, and that is glucose. In fact, even when fruits are advisable for all kind of say illness, but you see, grapes are not advised to diabetic patients. The reason being they have or one or two okay, but like you cannot eat it like you can eat the other stuff. Similarly, kaju is also there also say the forms of sugar is comparatively higher than walnut. So though dry fruits normally you think like that, but in the questions they're asking many times which one contains what. Okay, so for glucose, please remember grapes, glucose. Grapes will not go in fructose. All fruits that taste sweet, others will go in fructose, but grapes will go in glucose. Okay, sugarcane, you already know. As for sugarcane, as for sucrose, the name itself is telling SU is common in both, so it is easy. Now, those who know that from sugarcane we are making sugar, right? But we are also making sugar from beetroot. Cuba, the sugar bowl of the world, is making sugar from beetroot. So that is also there, right? So sugar cane is for sucrose. You will never forget it. And wherever sugar cane is there, put beet also. Okay. Don't put beet in fructose or glucose. Put beet also in sucrose. The reason being to make sugar again. Okay. Next is cellulose. Cellulose. Peels of fruits and vegetables, whole grains. Just before some time we had seen they will contain the roughage. Roughage are not digested. They form a part of say the roughage itself, cellulose, right? So that the smooth movement of the food will happen. Coming to starch. Cereals, for example, wheat, maize, rice, barley, vegetables, potatoes. So all these tapioca from which sabudana is made, that is also sticky. Then onions, some amount is there, bananas, because onions, if you will add more in any kind of recipe, no, let us make it tasty. Let me put more onions, it will become sweet. The taste will be spoiled. Okay, so balanced has to be made here also. Then banana, water chestnut, singhara, all these they are containing the starch. Okay, so that stickiness you can relate to it, they contains the starch. Now coming to the fats. Fats are composed of what? Previous one you have noted about the carbohydrates. Now here also see carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So what is the difference? The proportion is different. Okay, now previously there were say sugar was also there, starch was also there, cellulose was also there, and further sugar was divided. Here we just have to read two parts, that is glycerol and fatty acids. Okay, so a fat molecule just contains the glycerol and fatty acids, two parts. One complete oxidation, on complete oxidation of each gram of fat, I told you very important to remember, 9 kilocalories. Please remember this, for carbs it was 4 kilocalories and for fats it is 9 kilocalories. Okay, so on complete oxidation each gram of fat provides around 9 kilocalories of energy to the body. What are the other benefits of fat? Fats will keep the body warm. It will provide the extra energy. Deposits in body prevent loss of body heat. Now, in case of humans, still, okay, we can regulate the body temperature. But those animals which are staying in super cold region, what will they have? They will have an extra layer of fat. That is why they are able to survive, because these animals are roaming like that only, without clothes also, they're roaming. How is it possible in that much of ice cold? It is because they have a complete fat layer under their skin, right? Then acts as shock absorber and protect internal organs against injury. In fact, if the internal organs also need, like any machine, it will develop the friction, it will, you know, um, develop friction against its own parts if proper oiling is not there, right? Similarly, the shock absorber or protecting the internal organs, for that also fat is required. If protein has to be nicely digested, fat is required, right? So all these things are there. Also, when we study vitamins, then we study that vitamin B and vitamin C, water soluble. What about the others? They are fat soluble. So is fat required? Absolutely, right? So fat is also important for the body. Okay. Now, if fat is done, let us come to the next one, that is the proteins. Any doubt till here? That is the breaking down, so that the body will be able to absorb it in the forms of, say, glycerol and fatty acids. That is the breakdown. Okay. Now coming to the proteins. The proteins are found in, they will always put up a question in your exam that in terms of proteins, tell which one has more protein. Like that, they are asking the questions often. So you have to know that the dal that we eat, the pulses, the soya bean, beans, peas, lentils, grams, nuts, all of these, they have the proteins. Then coming to the fats and oils, the groundnuts, mustard seeds, coconut, all of these, they will have the oils and the fats. Proteins, how they are made of? They are made of molecules of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Okay, till here we already know, right? For the previous from like beforehand only we are studying. What else? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen, and sometimes sulfur also. So this is how proteins are made up of. Growth of body tissues is the main function of proteins. That is why a child which is below a certain age, they will require more proteins in their body, because the body is developing, they are still growing, right? So they will require more proteins. During starvation, if somebody is not getting proper food, if they are starving, during this starvation, proteins also serve as a source of energy. So this stored protein can be used as a source of energy during starvation. Starvation, if somebody is hungry, did not get food for days, then that stored fat and the stored protein can be used up. Now coming to the functions of the protein. Which proteins have what functions? Very important. This pepsin and trypsin they have asked many times. Actin and myosin they have asked. Then collagen and elastin they have asked, and gamma globulins also they can ask. Okay. But other three they have already asked. Now coming to the structural protein. Say structural protein, as the name indicates, they're responsible for providing the structure that is required. Structural proteins help build up tissues and replace worn out cells. If any new tissue is to be made, that will be made by the proteins. And if any old cell, worn out cell has to be replaced, that will also be done. Okay. For example, collagen and elastin. In terms of skin advertisement, there's so many products nowadays. You must have heard about collagen boosters that develops the skin better, collagen boosters, etc. So all these are related to what? All these are related to the structural proteins. The skin structure will be maintained with the maintenance of collagen and elastin. So like that, for the skin advertisement companies, they are also making various things. Then enzymes. Enzymes regulate the chemical reactions going on inside our body, like digestion, respiration, etc. For example, pepsin, trypsin, all these are nothing but enzymes. Okay, pepsin, trypsin are nothing but enzymes. Protective proteins provide protection to body against infections, such as what they will protect against. If there is any infection in the body, then they will protect the body against those infections. For example, the gamma globulins. Gamma globulins. These are protective proteins. Okay. Then coming to contractile. What does expansion and contractile, what will it do? If you'll expand your hand, if you'll contract your hand, it is nothing but the movement. The movement is happening. So this helps in movement and this helps in locomotion. Locomotion of the body parts means movement of the body parts. So the muscles will expand, and now you can say, you don't use the word like in pressure. In physics, we use the word, in pressure, we use the word expansion and contraction. So it's better to just use the contractile proteins. They will, help in the movement and in locomotion. Okay. Locomotion is nothing but movement from one place to another. Okay. Then actin and myosin. What are the examples? Actin and myosin. Please do not forget, actin and myosin are the proteins that help in, or they are the contractile proteins that help in locomotion. Coming to the transport protein. Transport protein is nothing but those who are able to do the transportation, carry different substances in the blood to body tissues. For example, hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a transport protein, right? And hemoglobin is the blood transport oxygen. What transport protein means? Something you will have to transport. What are you transporting? Hemoglobin is transporting blood, oxygen through the blood. Okay, so hemoglobin is transporting the oxygen through the blood. Hemoglobin itself is a pigment also, and it is also a transport protein. Coming to hormones. What are hormones? Hormones serve as chemical messengers which regulate body functions. For example, insulin, thyroxine. So hormones are the chemical messengers, and what they do, they regulate the body functions. Okay. Like for example, you must have heard about the insulin in terms of if somebody is diabetic, their insulin is injected, and thyroxine. If somebody has thyroid, so that is also, thyroxine is also a hormone, and this balance can lead to, say, some diseases. Now, coming to the next one, that is the important vitamins. Okay, or you can say vita or vita, vital. So vital, what does it mean? It means these are essential, these are important. Okay, and these are important, are complex organic compounds essential for life. So what are vitamins? These are the complex compounds essential for life. Okay, and our body cannot make vitamins for ourselves, so we must get it from our diet. Now let us have a look at the table. Okay, now this vitamins chapter itself can also be elongated. Now we are just studying it in the nutrients and health topic itself. Okay, now before going to this list, let me check the comments once. All good, no problem. Okay, now coming to this list, remember that eye has retina. How will you remember that the eye has retina? So vitamin A is retinol. Okay, and this itself will give you a hint. That means there can be the eye disease. Deficiency can lead to eye disease. It can be dryness of the eye, etc. It can be night blindness. Okay, Then B1 is thiamine, B2 is riboflavin, and similarly you can remember the other names also. Please do not forget B12, cyanocobalamin, very important repeated question. I hope vitamin C you already know, ascorbic acid. It is found in all the fruits which are, say, a little bit sour, okay, like say oranges, okay, for example, oranges, they will have the vitamin C. Calciferol, the name of vitamin D tablet itself is calciferol, so calciferol is for vitamin D. They both require each other, so vitamin D will, say, it works along. Calcium is also required, and that will help absorb the vitamin D. So that is the base of this understanding of calcium and vitamin D is the reason for so many things to mix up with the milk for better nutrients, right? So many companies, that is the reason. Then vitamin E is your tocopherol, and vitamin K is phyloquinone. So repeated times they have asked about all these vitamins. What is the name? What is the common name? Now I think, say, ascorbic acid already they are done. Too much they have asked. Cyanocobalamin also they have asked already many times, but still they can keep on asking this. Calciferol you all know. If you don't, it is very important. Tocopherol and phyloquinone. Okay. Coming to the important sources, this you have to do by yourselves. This slide you can simply do it yourself. It is very simple. It has the list of what contains what. Okay, just have a look at this and let me know. All good, so that I can proceed to the next part. Okay. Please note, you don't have to by heart this. Just give it a reading so that you have an idea that, say, milk, vitamin A is you find. Then in milk you find vitamin B also. In milk there is vitamin D also. Then E is also there in milk. That is why milk is, so important. So like that you can have a look that this reddish color, like carrot like color, tomato like color, all of these you find vitamin A. Okay. Then cereals, etc., you find vitamin B1. Like that, you just have an idea. Just give a close observation. Okay. Now coming to the disease. This is very, very important. Make a chart and learn it multiple times so that you are able to remember this, because remembering will be very important. I'll help you with some tricks. Say vitamin A. Vitamin A, night blindness. Vitamin A can't see at during the night time. Okay, poor vision in dim light. Okay, so that is your night blindness. Now you already know A is retinol. Retinol means related to eye, so there can be xerophthalmia, that is a dry eye symptom. There can be night blindness. Coming to B1, BB number 1, that is berry, B1, berry. Okay, so you'll always remember this affects the nervous system. Sometimes they have already asked also that which system it affects. It affects the nervous system. Then B2, there can be skin diseases, retarded growth. Then B4, there can be pellagra. Very important question. Different times they have asked pellagra. This is a disease which affects the skin, alimentary canal and nervous system. That is pellagra. Coming to B12, B12 is anemia, deficiency of red blood cells. If there is less RBC, that means there can be anemia. Then vitamin C, see here SC, it is already, C is already there. So you can find that scurvy. You remember proton, I told you, see, Rutherford is already there, right? So similarly here also, scurvy, C is already there. So any trick you take, but you must remember that vitamin C is for scurvy and vitamin D is for ricket. Very commonly confused question. Vitamin C is for scurvy and D is for ricket. Okay. And then you have vitamin E, which affects the fertility to some extent, and vitamin K, which affects the bleeding from the wounds. If there is excessive bleeding in the wounds, if the blood won't clot easily, that means there is the deficiency of vitamin K. Okay, so important is you must remember which vitamin is causing what. Now can we come to the minerals? No problem. Okay, all good. All right, let us come to the minerals now. Minerals, inorganic substances required by the body in small quantities. For example, iron. Thank you, Praveen, for confirming. For example, iron, calcium, phosphorus, iodine, sodium, potassium, all these are essential for the formation of body tissues. They can help in regulating the body functions, metabolism, and they can say that is the various chemical reactions taking place in the body. They can regulate that. So minerals example, iron, calcium, phosphorus, iodine, sodium, potassium, all these are essential minerals. If there is a lack of anything, then that means there is the lack of balanced diet and there can be deficiency diseases because of this improper food. Now let us come to the deficiency diseases. Deficiency diseases caused due to malnutrition. 3 types. Number 1, PEM, protein energy malnutrition. That means if there is lack of protein in that case or energy in that case, malnutrition. There is your mineral deficiency disease. If any mineral is less in the body, then what disease? If there is any lack of vitamin in the body, then what disease? Okay. 2 diseases caused due to PEM. That is your protein energy malnutrition. That is your marasmus and kwashiorkor. Let us have a look. Marasmus. After children up to 1 year of age. So it affects the children up to 1 year of age. Small children's it affects. This occurs in deprived, say if the children is deprived of mother's milk, then these things can, marasmus can occur. By delaying another pregnancy, in continuation, it can be avoided. Say that is why people are maintaining minimum 2 years of gap. And by having a rich protein-rich diet, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals also, this can be regulated. After marasmus, come to kwashiorkor. Amongst children of age group 1 to 5 years, protein deficiency causes kwashiorkor. Eating a protein-rich diet that consists of milk, meat, groundnuts, soybean, jaggery. So if protein will be increased, then the child can develop. So if protein is over, then we can come to minerals. Okay. Coming to mineral deficiency diseases. Look at the mineral deficiency. Number 1, goiter. In the sea region, there is no problem. In the sea region, people are getting the required seafood, required iodine. But what about in the hilly regions? In the hilly regions, you will find once upon a time it was quite common to find, say, a bump under the neck because, just a second. Okay, so in hilly regions, it was very common that a thyroid gland which is located under the neck that is swollen or something, some problem is that it can be seen. And in the coastal region, that was never a problem because of the seafood and, you know, overall rich in iodine. But in case of the hilly regions, it was there. Prolonged iodine deficiency that can enlarge the thyroid gland, and seafood is a good source of iodine. That's why people living in the coastal region, they do not suffer. Iodized salt, especially for people living in hilly regions, this can be the solution to reduce the goiter. Coming to mineral deficiency diseases. Any problem? Okay. Anemia. Hemoglobin. Okay, if it is lower than the normal, then anemia can happen. Iron. Constituent of hemoglobin. We can also say that it is the respiratory pigment in our body. Iron-rich diet will consist spinach, apple, banana, guava, eggs, groundnuts, etc. So all these means iron-rich diet. Vitamin deficiency, from night blindness to all of this we have seen. Hello? हाँ हाँ आ गया है, हाँ चल गया है, नहीं इशू नहीं है अभी. हाँ हाँ थैंक यू. Okay, now coming to the food items and the common adulterants. This part of food items, this I have included in the PPT, but we have not seen much questions from this part, right? Say, they may ask sometimes, just let it stay, just, go through it once, but otherwise, it's not very common to see a question from here. But you should have this average idea about, okay, food adulterants are also there. Next, this is important. Very simple. Iron, you all must be knowing that for formation of hemoglobin, it is required and it is the oxygen carrying pigment. If not, then you should know. Then calcium, that is formation of, say, strong bones, teeth, etc., muscles. For all these, it is required. For clotting of blood, it is required. Phosphorus, for development of, again, strong bones, teeth, making energy rich compounds in our bodies. For all of this, it is required. Potassium, growth and keeping osmotic balance of the cells. For the osmotic balance, what is required? Potassium. Sodium, that is for the nervous system and osmotic balance. Iodine is for the body metabolism and the development of brain. So always remember the keywords here. I will highlight once more. Say iron. Wait a second. Iron is for hemoglobin formation and oxygen carrier. Calcium is for strong bones and teeth and clotting of blood. Phosphorus, again, strong bone, teeth. Potassium, that is for osmotic balance of cells. Sodium is for the nervous system, and iodine is for the body metabolism. So like this you have to remember. Finally, water. Very simple, 65 to 70% of our body weight. Okay. Water does not provide any energy, yet it is considered important because water is the one who is regulating everything else, like the body temperature, means of excretion of body waste, medium for biochemical reactions, digestion, respiration, all these are happening. Plays an important role in absorption and transportation. So for the absorption and transportation also, where it is happening, water. Okay. Now, if we have understood that, okay, this is what we known as nutrition, this is what is called as health, then what is the problem as a nature? Coming in the last 10 minutes, we want to come to this part. Is there any problem? Osmotic balance of a cell. Yes, Praveen, I'll tell you that before moving further. Say osmotic balance means, if you will see that you have dipped a wheat grams like chana, etc., or a raisin like kishmish, etc., what happens, you see, that this cell will go in the water and it will let the water enter inside the say whatever you have taken. Okay, but do you see that at a certain point, when it is fully absorbed, when it has absorbed as much water as it can, it will remain like that. Now that, say, gram, that chickpea is not going to further break down into two pieces only by water. But if we are putting it in the pressure cooker, if you are applying high heat, high pressure in the pressure cooker for a repeated number of times, then in that case you can see, okay, this destruction is possible, it is happening. But otherwise, only by dipping in the water, it will not happen that it will disrupt its balance. It will, completely dissolve in water. To that extent, it will not go. So that balance that it keeps, know how much water to absorb, where to stop, right? So that is your this osmotic balance. Okay, now should we come to the last part, that is from high to low the water will go. Okay, if it is diffusion, then it is in case of the air or in case of the gases, and if it is, say, osmosis, then it is with respect to the water. If it is reverse osmosis, that is with respect to the RO, water purifier. Okay, now India as a community, we have some burden. There's some, say, malnutrition is there. That is, the people are, the children basically are not getting enough nutrition. Okay, the public health nutrition versus the clinical nutrition, the art and science of promoting this health and preventing these diseases, all of this through some organized effect, that is what we call as this clinical nutrition. Okay, we want to promote health as a whole whole population. We want to promote health among all the people of the nation. We want to include the women, we want to include the children, which is already included also in various schemes. So there is public nutrition, and we want to take this to every section of the society, and especially the vulnerable society also we want to take care. What is this India's double burden? What is the double burden that India is facing? That is the problem of malnutrition. Say, if a newborn child is born below a low weight, okay, that means some malnutrition has happened. Okay, undernourishment or undernutrition has happened. Among 20% of infants are low birth weight, that is, they're less than 2.5 kg. Widespread growth retardation in preschoolers. You can see the growth retardation happens because of, say, lack of protein, etc., and the diet will also cost more, so as a result of which this is affected. Widespread growth of retardation. Then 50% of the child deaths under 5 are linked to malnutrition. Just imagine, 50% of the child death under 5 is linked to malnutrition. Because of malnutrition, because of not availability of proper food, proper nutrition, the 50% of the child deaths under 5 is happening. The emerging crisis of overnutrition on the other side. So on one side, there is still undernourishment or undernutrition, and on the other side, there is overnutrition. Shift to processed foods, high sugar, fat, salt, etc. Rise in obesity, hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, all these are associated. And the coexistence, that is communicable diseases like TB, they also now comes free alongside the non-communicable diseases. Have a look at this. Economic cost of hidden hunger. Individual impact, more than 10% loss of livelihood earning due to cognitive and physical. Okay, and in case of the GDP, 2 to 3% GDP that is lost annually. This is how the PEM, or the protein energy malnutrition, happens. Then this is about the iron deficiency symptom, or the IDA. So protein and marasmus. Okay, iron deficiency disease, IDA. That is iron deficiency. Now, for vitamin A deficiency, and what can be done is, this can be a cycle. Okay, increased susceptibility to infection, and infection causes loss of vitamin A, as a result of which both of them will exaggerate the situation. So both has to be balanced at the right time. This is an example of IDD, that is the iodine deficiency disorders. So I think we will just take up, say, 5 minutes from our next class to be able to go through these slides as well. I'm just keeping it here so that I won't forget. Okay, or if you want to pause and just have a small reading, that is the summary version only, then also you can do that. All right, thank you everyone. I am ending this class here. I will see you again in the next class.